All right, everybody, welcome to the next Mr. Gloat podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Episode 2 of my reunion. Last week ago, ladies and gentlemen, pardon me for that. Last week ago, ladies and gentlemen, we got to follow up on the entire fight card of Clarissa Shields versus Franchon Cruz DeZern. But to be honest, guys, for the next 45 minutes to maybe 1 hour, because I'm thinking of just making this podcast short, I only have a few topics to talk about, guys, and, well, the first two of them aren't that much to talk about. It might take probably 15 minutes to get through, but I might as well get through with it. Well, the first topic I will talk about is in one full answer here. As of recording this video, ladies and gentlemen, March the 8th, 2024 was the day that I did my first episode around Mr. Gloat. Well, not before, but it's about almost before, during the time of March the 8th. Well, as during the time, almost. It was actually during around the same time when, mostly around the time, ever since, I'm actually looking it up as of right now, just to make sure. And it's been over 5 months, but technically I would say around 4 months or so, ever since I did my 100th episode podcast, which was actually a 3-hour episode. And that episode ended around September the 15th, about my 100th episode, which is crazy because it actually is my 101 episode, because I think I accidentally did one of the episodes that was not counted as a Gloat episode or something. But again, guys, back around the time, my Gloat episodes were me just putting up videos and screens and random things, background video footages for you guys to watch, which was just for the fun of it. But guys, I got really bored during the time, because the month of August didn't have a lot of interesting things to do. I reviewed UFC 6. I reviewed everything. I did the Undisputed Minimum Weight Championship of what would happen. And that we're going to get to that soon. But my first legit episode was back around, which was a 36-minute and 21-second episode, when in reality it was only 40 minutes. But I didn't do a lot of recording. I didn't do an intro. It was just mostly me talking about one video of how I felt about the Anthony Joshua and Francis Ngannou fight, which happened some weeks ago, which was around March the 8th. So this isn't the 2-year anniversary yet, but still, I did record around March the 9th during episodes around that time until March the 20th, 2024, when I actually did that. So I will take a couple weeks off, ladies and gentlemen, as I'm recording this. Technically, I am recording this on the 3rd, but I will upload it on the on Friday the 6th. As of right now. But technically, guys, the information I will say, though, is that there's nothing much to say about whether or not any of this can come to play, because there's not a lot of information for me to talk about. And ever since, guys, I did had to clear my throat, because talking too much might be too much for me to handle. And sometimes you have to talk with your normal voice that you get used to. Like, heck, guys, even a couple weeks ago, I had so many problems with my throat that I had to go to mostly the doctors to check up on it, how to learn, how to practice. And then we did have this moment about stress or relief of how to get your voice normal. Like, don't talk from your throat. Like I'm doing right now. So I'm trying to practice by talking here. Because just so that you guys know, if you're talking here, wear your stomach, because you have to relax, breathe, and try to relax. Not using this voice. You have to practice talking in this voice. And when it gets better, it gets better. And guys, I will say, though, it gets better. So I am trying to get used to that, not talking with my throat, because that's how I clear my throat and I lose my voice a lot when I talk here. So So I'm really trying to practice that, which is why. But guys, sometimes when I finish a sentence, sometimes I talk with a high note for some reason, and I'm trying not to do that, but sometimes it does mess you up. Now I do have mint and water. I do have mints and water and cough drops, which I should have brought here. So give me a second. But mostly that's my first topic. But let's get to my second topic. But that's why I'm recording a short video, because I'm just trying to relax, get used to it, because I don't know how people, radio station crew and everyone else, I don't know how they get through 3 hours of doing their own program. So still trying to learn that. But I'll be back in just a second. I guess there is no cough drops. I guess they're in my other room. No one's perfect. There we go. Yeah, so always have to set up with water and a good amount of cough drops to keep yourself together. So always bring those around. So my point is, guys, I am trying to get used to trying to talk with my normal voice, but I want you viewers to know one thing. I'm not happy with my normal voice that I'm trying to do right now. Is because, I guess it's because when I was a child and I started talking a lot, people thought I was talking gibberish. And when people were upset that I was talking too fast because I was talking incoherently, so I thought to myself, maybe I should talk with a Jacksepticeye voice or something else, because it just seemed too much for me. So I did got bothered with my voice, because some people think I'm like a mental retard. Because guys, I have seen a lot of people online that has had this similar voice, and mostly 90% people on YouTube that have this similar voice on YouTube don't get a lot of popularity and subscribers. So I try to be different. Sometimes that doesn't work, and sometimes only Markiplier can do that, even though he was just like us people. We were just doing YouTube for fun of it, and he just got lucky making it to the big time. So I hope we can change this attitude up, but that's not going to stop me from being crazy. But I am going to try my best to take it as best I could, because I do sometimes talk like this in public, but I guess when I'm on camera, it's a whole different ball game. Anyway, guys, just to let you viewers know, I already have a video that I'm going to react to, and just to let you guys know, the screen that you guys are watching, I know we have a black screen, and my last episode I did with the Franchon Cruz DeZern and Clarissa Shields 2 fight was mostly a black screen and letters. Well, guys, I am thinking about to do other things, because I want my podcast to be a little bit of a popularity, more like if any YouTuber decides to sync their content, like doing sync, like in sync content, like the Deadlock podcast of how a YouTuber reviews, or not reviews, but guys, if you people are a fan of New Legacy Inc., which I love, and their other channel, which Johnny Blood has another channel called Deadlock Podcast, but mostly him and his group, they actually have their own wrestling promotion, which is surprising, and I hope I could go there one day. Mostly they do podcasts, and there's a YouTuber named Kid Kingpin. It's spelled KIDDKINGPIN. And the YouTuber mostly, as his description would sometimes point out, that mostly his content, even though he's not a member of Deadlock, but his content is mostly his content of doing podcast sync, which is that he actually edits some of the Deadlock podcasts and their content, and starts editing clips and video clips over the sound of them talking, and sometimes other things, just to explain, because I don't want my podcast to be boring with you guys watching my full content of just a guy talking on camera. But I do want to love doing this stuff, and I hope a YouTuber can kind of do that one day and do it for the fun of it, because it's it'll be really something special to me, and I hope that will happen one day. I hope. Anyway, guys, with all that being said, the real thing coming here, guys, for the next 1 hour is this. So for the second topic, ladies and gentlemen, professional boxing has been a little bit hard for me to follow along when it comes to the undisputed champion. And unfortunately, when it comes to the world of professional boxing, the world champions are a little bit hard for me to find when it comes to the current champions. So just to let people know, Nadia Inoue and Vladimir Klitschko tie for the record for the most wins in unified championship bouts for 15. And Klitschko did all that well in the heavyweight and defeated and broke the record ever since for 14 straight. He even has the record for the most consecutive title defenses in unified titles at 14 in a single run. So pretty much, and only Marvin Hagler in the middleweight got 12 in a row, and Muhammad Ali and Roy Jones Jr. in heavyweight and light heavyweight did 10. And mostly that's about it. But yet again, guys, let's not talk about that as much as we should talk about the undisputed champions in each weight class that are not undisputed. So, guys, the super flyweight, light flyweight, and minimum weight champion in boxing for men are the only ones that are not champion. So, mostly that will face a little bit of a turnaround on what will happen in the future. Now, for women's boxing, it's different. Now, again, guys, the light heavyweight still only has 3 belts active. The WBC is the only belt in women's boxing as the light heavyweight division that does not exist yet. So, no undisputed there. Only WBA, IBF, and WBO are the only belts still active. As for the super bantamweight division, the super bantamweight still has some formalities because the super bantamweight does have Ellie Scotney with all the belt wins, except Mayela Flores is WBA, and they're going to have a fight if that fight does materialize in a couple months or so. Same with Jesse Rodriguez, if he does have a fight against Wildebaldo Garcia, if they do get some fights there for undisputed, and maybe Kenshiro Taraji can actually fight for the undisputed belt on Jesse Rodriguez, which would be awesome. Still, I wish he was the champion instead. But also, guys, with all this being said, the super flyweight also has no undisputed champions in both men and women. As for women, they do have the autumn weight, which is the only weight class that has that's only fought for women. So the autumn weight has no men, just women, and the cruiserweight has no women. Same with bridgerweight, just men. And the bridgerweight still has the WBC and WBA, so whoever depends on if those are going to be unified, I'll just call it undisputed. And also the light flyweight division does have 0 undisputed champions as well for women as well, which is interesting because you have Evelyn Nazarena, unified champion. Every single belt she won is great. Only the WBC champion, Mexico, Jorez Louders, is still the champion in the WBC. So we hope we could get a fight against her and the Argentinian fighter of Evelyn. And even the minimum weight and light flyweight for men's boxing is somewhat similar. Renee Santiago from Puerto Rico defeating out 2 Japanese fighters in 2025 for mostly he did lost his other fight recently, but came out, won a rematch to get his belt back against a Japanese fighter in March. Then in December, Kyosuke Takami lost his undefeated by split decision, and that was it. So amazing. Knockout CP Freshmart is back in boxing, this time in the light flyweight. Since December, he was the WBC. Thanong Sak Simsri in June won his belt in the IBF. And they're both Thailand fighters, but unfortunately, all those three fighters are fighting someone else as we speak. But it just stinks that these Thailand fighters don't want to fight each other. So it's bad. So I hope Renee can do something or have someone fight him or get a new star, because we have an Undisputed. And that's the same thing as for Oscar Collazo. But of course, you do have Melvin Jerusalem, WBC, Pedro Tandrin, the IBF champion. Both of them are from the Philippines, and both of them did destroy the Shigeoka brothers twice in their fights and their rematches, killed the Japanese territory. And guys, it's kind of weird that Japanese men and Japanese women became utter failures in 2024 and some in 2025. A lot of them. And even the atomweight division, which had Tina Ruperchet vacating all her titles. And we heard that Samira Yamanaka is going to take on another fighter just recently for the IBF atomweight division. And even though Camille Zamorano, still a teenage Mexican woman in the WBC, already defeated multiple Japanese fighters, and Gabrielle Timmer in the WBO in December defeated a Japanese woman in her country, not Japan, friggin' Turkey. And Isabel Rivero in November won the WBA bout against one of her compatriots. So, yeah, the atomweight is getting destroyed badly, and Japanese women can't catch a break. And it's even bad because the super flyweight has Mizuki Hiruda not catching a break for herself. Like, she's defended the belt a bunch of times for her WBO. In May, she won the Ring magazine. Like, even Irma Garcia is actually championing the IBF, and she's taken on Emma Dolan in some time just in a couple months as well for the IBF, so that's going to be something. While Adelaida Ruiz is WBC champion and Yasmin Artiga is WBA, unfortunately, these Americans don't want to fight each other. And even Mizuki Hiruda, and they say that they want to have a fight against Yasmin, and that fight's not materialized. So it really stinks that this is just not going places for the super flyweight in women's boxing, and it seems like they're going nowhere. But yet again, guys, who knows when that time's going to come, because like Mizuki Hiruda, she's defended her belts, her WBO belt 6 times. And even though with most of the titles being held on for a lot of other fighters, even Amanda Serrano is still holding on to the WBO belt that she's holding since September the 13th, 2019, longer than any other gender boxer today, whether it's male or female, even when they're in the new decade. So we don't know if Amanda, like guys, even though I do see Amanda having maybe a couple more good fighting wins in her, because she's 48, 4-1 and 31 knockouts. So who knows when that time is going to come. But yet again, who knows if she's even going to fight for another weight class. It's going to be tough to find out, but yet again, we're just going to have to wait and see when that time comes. And guys, by the way, while getting to the end of this second theory here, David Benavidez in May the 2nd at T-Mobile Arena will fight the WBO and WBA champion in the cruiserweight Gilberto Ramirez by the Tom Brown TGB Promotions and Oscar De La Hoya Golden Boy Promotions and Samson Lunkausis Samson Promotion, which will be live on Amazon Prime. It's going to be interesting to see if David Benavidez can go out for another title win for this and 3 weight class champion. However, guys, we even have ridiculous things going on as well. Now, even though we have a fighter like Anthony Kakase fighting James Dickens in March, which is going to be next week on the 14th, and we'll see how he can get his luck back there. Oscar Collazo is taking on an American fighter named Jesus Haro, also a guy that looks like a young kid with only a few losses and some knockouts, which is going to take place in Anaheim, California, which will also be the site of the undisputed world flyweight champion Gabriel Fundora taking on Viviana Ruiz. And Arnold Barboza Jr. is coming back from a long hiatus from his Teofimo Lopez fight in Times Square against Kenneth Smith Jr. Sims. So that's also going to be on Oscar De La Hoya Golden Boy promotion. And Jesus Haro is American, but yet again, he is not much of a great fighter. So, and by the way, guys, keep this in mind. It's only going to get ridiculous when time goes on because, again, like Pedro Tundran and Melvin Jerusalem, I want to see them fight each other for unified champions and just see who's the better person, or just have them fight Collazo for the fun of it. But yet again, who knows? Who really knows what will come to play after that? And also, guys, sad news. Gary Antoine Russell finally had his match a couple weeks ago against Andy Hirooka for the WBA champion in the super lightweight division, and all that waiting was a waste of time, and Andy from Japan fighting in T-Mobile failed. Yeah. It is what it is. It is what it is. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, guys, but to be honest, guys, the heavyweight division has a lot of interesting fights. Now, guys, I have said this before. These fights may happen, but again, they may not. And what I see here from fighters that are ranked number 1 to number 50 in the heavyweight division as follows. On May the 23rd, live in the Pyramids of Giza, we have Alexander Usyk on DAZN pay-per-view taking on Rico Verhoeven, a kickboxing champion that started back when he was in 2005. The guy was, his resume was only winning a lot of fights, but losing amount of fights in his early career. Like, he had 10 losses in his career, but of course he did lost fights even during his early career of 2006, 2007, 2009, a lot, and 11 and 12. And like even by the end of 2012, his career changed, even after he had 27 wins and 9 losses as a kickboxer. But of course, by 2014, he went on to have his first professional boxing fight against an 0-5 1-no contest fighter in April the 26th of 2014, which ended in a round 2 KO, which is the only win there for Rico, and that's his only professional fight. A year later, he went on with another fight. He lost another fight, but a month later, which was his last loss, he took on a fighter for the Glory Kickboxing Heavyweight Champion. He would go on to win fights after fights by time and again, and by the end of 2019 or so on, or 2018, he would take hiatus breaks from 2019 to fight again, take a full year off until 2021 to have a few fights a year, come back a 365-day hiatus in 2022 to win, another 365-day hiatus in 2023 in November, boxed a tournament in 2024 to win all fights, and a full 15-month hiatus in June of 2025 he would win again. So he's been on hiatuses ever since. But that's just mostly him. So technically, Rico has been unstoppable for the last 11 years, and now he's coming back 12 years back in professional boxing. And again, guys, that professional boxing fight was a heavyweight, and he was 269 pounds back then in 2014. A 6'5" orthodox, 78 reach advantage and high and his reach, and he's an orthodox. And I can't believe this fight exists. Like, I know about the news and reports that were happening recently, but I just thought it was ridiculous. But BoxRec concludes it. But the thing is, guys, Rico is 37 years old. Alexander Usyk is 39. He's 24-0 with a good amount of knockouts in his career, with Rico only having one fight. And also, even though Alexander is a southpaw fighter, 6'3", he is also a 78 reach advantage. Only Rico is 78.5, so I can't say much about that, but the thing is, because guys, at this moment, here's the problem I'm just hating about this. Alexander Usyk comes in. He says he has 2 fights left. And then even on the press with him and the Dan Dubois 2 fight last year ago, he comes out before and he says after he defeats Daniel Dubois, now we have 2 fights left. Makes no sense. We were going to have a fight with him and Deontay Wilder. No go. The purse bid didn't go on. Wilder was on a fight in December on with him and Chisora. And they also had that. They also went down there to watch a fight with Murat Gassiev defeating Kubrat Pulev for the WBA regular heavyweight champion, which is great to see Murat back in the spotlight. So good for him. We also had other moments that they were going to have a fight here. And then they said that Derek Chisora was going to be a new fighter for Fabio Wardley. That fight never materialized. So all we got here is nothing but fights that are just out of the question. Because, and guys, you know what's ridiculous? Daniel Dubois defeats Phil Perkovich. Weeks later, he gets the IBF belt outside of the ring. His first title defense and his only win is a British fighter, Anthony Joshua, former champion. He loses the belt in July last year against Usyk. And then, of course, Joseph Parker, WBO interim champion, just like IBF interim champion Phil Perkovich, he fights in October, lost against Fabio Wardley against a controversial referee, which the fight was close and they were almost done with the fight. So why stop the fight with the final minute of the game and with only one more round left of the game? And this is what you get. And of course, guys, even if Parker did have that fight in the bag for a win, he still failed drug test. And his career is going down the tube for some reason. So about some weeks later, in the mid of November, Usyk gives the belt to Wardley. And they have bygones there. They don't have arguments about that. And of course, we have this. Fabio Wardley's first title defense will be on May the 9th against a British fighter, former champion Daniel Dubois. So my point is, guys, none of these fighters in other countries are not going to get an opportunity. There's 2 British promoters of Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren are the ones destroying these boxers. Guys, imagine if Agat Caballel, WBC interim champion, is going to take on Lawrence O'Cauley. And Lawrence O'Cauley next month in a few weeks is going to take on Tony Yoka, former gold medalist that actually got dominated by fighters of Martin Bacali, Carlos Tacoma in 2022 and 2023, and got himself robbed in a Riyad Murray fight in November or December, and seeing how those years became his worst. Sheesh, and people said those fights were close. Yeah, when you look at the fight and look at closely, you know that Tony Yoka was not heavyweight material. And now he's getting a fight with Lawrence O'Cauley, even defeating Arslan Yalev and Patrick Cordy, which were his 2 good recent fights in 2025. Yeah, I don't buy it. But imagine Lawrence wins the fight, and again, guys, Lawrence O'Cauley, just to let you guys know, he is on the breaking pad because he is promoter with Eddie Hearn and manager of Anthony Joshua, which is funny. So, again, they might take this away that if WBC belt is not going to be on fighting for Alexander Usyk, and if O'Cauley defeats Agat Caballel, the money's good, and Alexander Usyk can have that fight because, guys, Agat Caballel is German, Phil Perkovich is Croatian, Nigerian F.A. Ajagba, Martin Bacali, yes, he's British, but he's also from the Republic of the Congo, Bakadir Jalala from Uzbekistan, and these other fighters from Zhou Zhang from China, and even the Perot brothers of Linier and Danier are also top competitors in my opinion. But again, These countries around the world are getting robbed by these British boxers, and they're getting their lives ruined, and they can't catch a break. And it kind of stinks. And guys, even Otto Wallin, after his loss against Chisora in February last year ago, he takes on Chris Thomas, which was in November. But again, I don't even know if his career is going to recover. And guys, even though with that being said, you have Deontay Wilder finally getting a fight, this time in May the 4th next month against Derek Chisora. And Derek Chisora is on to his 50th pro fight, just like Wilder. And they say he was going to promise to retire. If Chisora gets his 50th fight, he retires. So his wins against Joe Joyce in 2024 and Otto Wallin for the IBF Eliminator last year ago was a waste of time. There is no title on the line for him, and this is... I hope they pull this fight out. I hope this fight gets pulled out. I hope Deontay Wilder fakes an injury and pulls out, because I don't want to see this fight. Or better yet, have Daniel Dubois break his leg and then saying, oh, I can't fight Fabio Wardley. And then we'll put both him and Derek Chisora in the mix. Even though the problem is, their fight is in May the 9th, so no go there. But hey, who knows? It just goes to show you, there's nothing good about any of this. I just don't like anything going on in this. And by the way, guys, it's even more hilarious because Arslanbek Makhmudov is taking on Tyson Fury on April the 11th, which is also going to have a new champion for the BBBFC British heavyweight champion, with Richard Ryakpuri trying to take on Jamie Chichkev, the guy that actually got robbed on by that robbed knockout controversy in April the 5th last year ago, where the referee told them to break, and then David threw a free shot in the middle of getting break, and that's how it ended there. So, again, even though his win against Fraser Clark was a great win in November, so can't say much about any of this crap. Again, it's bad. And even though we do have Justice Hooney coming back, as he's also, as ranked number 16, he's fighting against Fraser Clark as well in this venue as well. So good luck with that. But again, guess what? Tyson Fury is coming back in his 18th year in boxing since 2008 against Arslanbek Makhmudov. So we'll see how his performance will be there. And maybe Tyson Fury should just take it easy this year, win a fight, and then maybe come back in 2027 to see what he can do. Maybe he might fight Fabio Wardley, and that might be more ridiculously bad. But we're just going to have to wait and see. And to be honest, it is bad to see who else is going to be in the boxing world. It's going to be tough. All right, guys. So the original plot for this video, ladies and gentlemen, is that anything goes on. So, ladies and gentlemen, last year ago, a YouTube channel named EV Boxing went on and published a video of undefeated boxers. I think he said 26 fighters, I think. Forgot. But, still, here's the thing. With most of everything going on here, guys, it's going to be a doozy. Oh yeah, this is definitely going to be a doozy. So the channel's name is EV Boxing, and guys, we only have we're 34 minutes into this. Jeez, I've talked too much. So guys, I'm going to review this video by EV Boxing and his channel called Which Undefeated Boxers Are Most Likely to Lose. And I find this to be interesting to a point, because it could be an interesting watch. So, and guys, if you guys aren't into me pausing the video or something like that, I am sorry. So it's going to be interesting to find out what will happen here. And again, guys, it's only a 15-minute video, and he just talks about the boxers. He ranks them on tier lists, such as fighters that will lose, or a fighter that will retire, or a fighter that will be undefeated for a long time until his first loss, or he might lose in some other weight class. So that's the whole thing about this. But again, it's going to be interesting. So yeah, let's do this. I'm not a YouTube reactor, but yeah, let's do this.
Record is very important. There's so many boxers at the moment who are undefeated in this current landscape in boxing. So today we're going to be going through the biggest undefeated names in boxing and ranking them in a tier list format in terms of how likely they are to lose. Just to clarify, I'm not including prospects in this video. The list is reserved for top 10 contenders or champions in their division. So we can't include guys like Abdullah Mason, Rohan Polanco, or Emiliano Vargas. Maybe that can be a separate video, a prospects tier list. Anyway, let's get on with
I wish he did Agit Kabayel. Oh, crap. Stop. Oh, my gosh. I'm going to have to, I'm going to trash this video. Okay. You know what? Let's do this.
Let's get on with the
Wait a minute. Let me do this again, guys. Give me a second, guys. I'm just going to try to re-get this again. I didn't really shape the video on my camera screen. I said before, guys, I haven't done reaction videos in a long time, so let me do this again one more time. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, just help me here. Jeez, I'm weed. Give me a second. I'm trying to follow this up. Like I said before, guys, I'm done with YouTube reaction videos, but sometimes once in a while I want to watch something here because this is oh my gosh. All right, I'm gonna stop it right here. Okay, you know, let's ignore those other seconds and just play the video as it is right here. Let's break it down.
Anyway, let's get on with the list. We've got 27 names to go through.
27 names.
Starts off all the way at the top.
Yes.
With Alexander Usyk. This sort of establishes the golden standard for how unlikely they are to lose. It's very, very rare for a champion to retire undefeated, especially if they've beaten everyone there is to beat.
That only
but
depends.
Usyk is most likely the next addition to the list, along with Mayweather, Calzaghe, Marciano.
Oh yeah, Mayweather.
He's cleared out 2 weight divisions.
We'll get to Mayweather some other time.
A rematch with Dubois or Moses Itama. He's already
Dubois doesn't have it,
and he may not even fight Itama. So Usyk is
yeah,
at the very top.
Itama.
We move on to the very bottom.
What about Agit Kabayel?
Just to be clear, when I say that he loses when he fights someone good, I don't mean just anyone can beat him like George Kambosos, but the entire top of the division does beat him. He was on.
You're not wrong about that.
From the Mesito Hester fight, Jamie Arboleda, Maxi Hughes, stopping Giovanni Cabrera in 2 rounds. That's very impressive. But the moment he fought someone with good defense in Tevin Farmer, it was a very difficult fight.
Yeah, and then he would go on to lose against Shakur Stevenson in July.
So the likes of Gervonta Davis, Shakur Stevenson, Lamont Roach, Keyshawn Davis do beat him or stop him.
Definitely.
Moving on to the
Shakur Stevenson did good.
Shakur Stevenson. I've put Shakur in the could lose in a different weight class category. I think Shakur can definitely beat everyone in his division. It's a close fight between him and Tank. But assuming he gets past Tank Davis, I think he's got the ability to clear out 140. The only issue is, if he fights someone with one-punch power at 140, someone like Gary Antoine Russell, I don't think we're going to see a good performance. But most others in that division, like Liam Parro, Jack Catterall, Arnold Barboza, I do pick him to beat quite comfortably, and for that reason, he's going in the middle. Then a bit further down.
Well, the thing is, guys, like ever since his win against William Zepeda, which EV Boxing did a good job picking him down on the lose in any fights. Like, again, guys, he would go up as being another 4-weight class champion against his Teofimo Lopez fight. And, of course, Teofimo Lopez will be in another part of this video. But, again, like Shakur Stevenson, he does have decencies. But, yet again, I would like to see what he has in him that might give him an opportunity, because some people could still rank him as a boring fighter, but he's still a tough fighter for who he is. So we might as well have to wait for that moment to come, just for the heck of it.
down, we have David Benavidez. Now, the difference between Shakur Stevenson and David Benavidez is that I think Shakur Stevenson's style does favour him in every weight division he fights in. There's no aspects of Shakur's game that relies on his physicality. David Benavidez, on the other hand, has consistently shown against David Morrell and Alexander Gvozdyk. As much as David Morrell and Gvozdyk are very, very good fighters, don't get me wrong, but we're not really seeing the same Benavidez.
The Anthony Yarde fight he had in November was good.
When he fights someone stronger than him at 175, he's going to have to start fighting on the back foot, and I don't think he can do that, which is why I think the likes of Beterbiev would stop it, and someone like Dmitry Bivol could easily school him across 12 rounds.
Maybe Gilberto Ramirez.
I don't think anyone beats him. Moving on to the one lose for a while tier, we have Jai Opetaia. If Opetaia was to stay at cruiserweight,
he would stay in cruiserweight.
Even higher, but
I don't think he will stay there.
At some point, and that's where he might lose. In terms of competition at cruiserweight, we're talking about guys like Badu Jack, Ryan Rozicki, Chris Billum-Smith, Brandon Glanson. His hardest test is Zurdo Ramirez, and I think he stops Ramirez. There's such a massive athleticism difference between Opetaia and the rest of the division. I think it's going to be a while before he loses.
So that just brings us to conclusion, because understand this. As I just said before, guys, Gilberto Ramirez is going to finally get his new fight coming out against David Benavidez. And they're going to fight as he's going to fight for another weight class. So it does make you wonder that he will lose in a different weight class, because he already left the light heavyweight. Now he's going up to cruiserweight. And he already had his fight against Anthony Yarde, as I said before. So I will say, though, that there is opportunities here, that there's going to be some fighters here that are going to say, hey, maybe you might have a chance in the super middleweight, but maybe not in the light heavyweight. But there's other fighters that might be better than you in the cruiserweight. So why not just fight them there? Yet again, Benavidez, from his will lose in a different weight class with Jai Opetaia on the won't lose for a while, does make you wonder, how good will Benavidez do if he does defeat Gilberto Ramirez? Because Gilberto Ramirez is already trying to duck off the fight with Opetaia because they know he's not better than Opetaia, but Opetaia is getting injured easily on these fights, just like anyone else. So, and even Benavidez did good on the Yarde fight, so who knows? He might bring out good opportunities here, but yet again, I can't really say much about this other than there is opportunities that someone might come out here and say that these guys have what it takes. But yet again, you're looking at this is a little bit different than what you're looking at here, because anyone can do a good job in these weight classes depending on if you're going up a weight class or not. So I do question that pretty much.
Moving on a bit further down, we have Terence Crawford. Now, this is a special case, and you need to hear me out with this one. If Crawford was to stay at 154, and his limit is 160, he would be up there with Usyk. He could easily stay at 154 and beat the likes of Virgil Ortiz Jr., Jerome Boots Ennis, Bakram Murtazali, of Sebastian Fundora. He could also move up to 160 and beat
one of those fighters might be them.
His hardest test of those names is Virgil Ortiz, in my opinion, but even then I think Bud beats him. It's the fact that he's going
Virgil
to
might win
to 168 and fight Canelo Alvarez is why he's in the middle.
I don't think EV Boxing was expecting him to retire this year.
Less undefeated fighters. I don't think he's definitely going to lose to Canelo.
Oh boy, you really had to F me up there with this freaking SpongeBob bull crap here. Oh my, I hate advertisements, man. I hate it. I don't think he's going to lose to Canelo Alvarez, but what the hell, man, is wrong with YouTube? I hate AI. I hate AI. AI sucks. God, oh friggin' mighty. He lost. And I don't think he's going to fight again.
I don't see Boots' style working in a higher weight division. I think there is a difference between the idea of Boots Ennis and what Boots Ennis actually is. If Boots fought more behind the jab at distance, stuck to his attributes, we're talking about a guy who could maybe threaten Crawford.
I think he went up a weight class.
Time and time again that he can't really execute that style unless he fights a perfect opponent like Roman Villa. I don't think he loses at 147. I think he beats Stanionis in a couple of weeks. It might be a hard fight. But
no, it's an easy fight.
Mario Barrios. I think he beats Brian Norman Jr. as well. Or if Ryan Garcia and Teofimo Lopez want to move up, I think he'd beat them too. But as soon as he loses that natural size difference that he has at 147, I think he will lose at 154. I think Terence Crawford beats him. I think Bakram Murtazalia beats him. I think Israel Madrimov beats him. I think Virgil Ortiz beats him. Boachuk
Israel
is 50-50.
Madrimov.
He probably beats Fundora and Tim.
Terence almost lost against Israel.
Speaking of Virgil Ortiz, he's going to be our next pick, and he's going above Jerome Boutsenis. Virgil Ortiz is one of those fighters that I've learned to appreciate even more over time. I think we've all
still a good guy,
but historically people seem to have been convinced about Boutsenis more.
He's still a good guy for who he is.
Narrative shift recently. Serhii Boachuk and Israel Madrimov are far better opponents than Boutsenis has ever fought. And while Boots may be more athletic and flashy, Virgil is far more technically sound. He's got a great jab, he's got good defense, and he's extremely dangerous offensively. He's one of those guys you can trust to win fights. I think he's comfortably number 2 at 154 behind Terence Crawford. And I don't think Crawford's going to fight him, so it may be a while before Ortiz loses. Which is going to take us to another fighter in the same tier, Keyshawn Davis. While there is a question of whether Shakur can beat Tank Davis at 135, I am convinced that Keyshawn doesn't lose to anyone at 135. Especially since Shakur and Keyshawn aren't fighting each other. Again, Keyshawn could easily clear out 140. However, he doesn't seem to do that well against the slick mover style. We saw that in his fight versus Nahir Albright, and there's a lot of fighters like that at 140. But that's the only blip on Keyshawn's record. If that was just an off night, Keyshawn may be even higher on the list. Which is going to take us...
To be honest, guys, Keyshawn Davis, like, if we even had to move on to him a lot more, guys, Keyshawn Davis isn't much of my favorite. Like, yes, he is number 21 of the greatest pound for pound fighters. He's number 3 in the super lightweight. His fight in February against Denis Berinchyk was interesting enough to destroy another Ukrainian fighter, and his Jermaine Ortiz fight was great for his round 12 knockout he did last January, the 31st. Again, Keyshawn hasn't fought a lot of fights in his 5 years, so we do like to see what he might show us, but I doubt it. But yet again, he might throw something here. Like, he went on to the world lightweight. He went up another weight class against the Jermaine Ortiz fight, and he's won. So he's done good in those times, but still, I do want to see more of what he has in store for us.
To someone who is high on the list, Moses Itauma. Now, I did say that no prospects will be on the list, but
he's about to fight in March the 28th against Jermaine Franklin,
he is in the top,
which should have happened a month ago.
The only people I can see beating Itauma are Alexander Usyk and Daniel Dubois. I've talked about Itauma.
He might beat Dubois. He might. He might beat Dubois.
Hits like a heavyweight. He's a very rare talent, and the results are going to speak for themselves when he takes more fights, which is going to take us even higher. So no, yeah, Inoue still has about 10 years left on the clock. Despite that, I'm still going to put him up there.
I think he has 6 years left.
122 and 126 skill-wise. I'm almost 100% certain he'll never lose at 122. I think he does beat Junto Nakatani. MJ Akhmadaliev, as good as he is light work. His only test is at 126, specifically against Rafael Espinoza. I think he stops Nick Ball. I think he beats Angelo.
Rafael will be a hard fight.
I think he beats as well. Overseeing environment.
Oh my fucking mighty! Fuck off!
Inoue has said he may move up to 130, in which case Eduardo Nunes may be too much for him. But if Manny Pacquiao can beat Antonio Margarito, it's entirely...
Ignore the Margarito. He was a cheater. And by the way, keep this in mind, guys. Manny Pacquiao was a flyweight champion back in his day, but he never became a super flyweight or a bantamweight. He just skipped past those weight classes, just like how Inoue skipped the flyweight division to go to super flyweight after his light flyweight title. So he would have been more than a 5 weight class champion. And technically, Inoue should be a 3-time weight class champion in the original 8 weight classes, because there's 9 boxers that have won 3 weight class champions in the original 8 weight class format during the end of World War I pre-era. So, and just like Pacquiao would have been maybe a 9 weight class champion or so on, or maybe 10. But again, like, he was never popular in the 90s until he went to America for that last replacement fight against someone that no one knew who he was. So I don't think that really matters. I think Pacquiao can go to to featherweight, super featherweight. I don't know, but featherweight might be close to him because there's no good talented fighters anymore to talk about. So I doubt it.
Well, he's going to go down there. It's a weird one because I don't think he's going to beat Espinosa or Angelo.
Yeah,
Leo.
Nick Ball,
Those two are
forget
really
it.
good, and I think he beats the rest. At 130 pounds though, I think Nick Ball is screwed. I think Emmanuel Navarrete or Sugar Nunes could easily massacre Nick Ball. If he's undersized in a fight like that, I think he stands almost no chance, which is why he's down there. Which is going to take us even further down to Bruce Carrington. Now, as much as I rate Bruce Carrington, it's a styles make fight situation. Even though he's below Nick Ball, I actually think he beats Nick Ball. I think he demolishes Brandon Figueroa. However, this is what we saw versus Suleiman Segawa. Since he's a counter-puncher, if you give him too much space and he can't counter, he finds himself stuck behind the jab. So I think Stephen Fulton,
as a featherweight,
Rafael Espinosa, who have good jabs, could easily beat him. He definitely beats Lopez.
He's still young. He is 28 years old.
Down there, which is going to take us to someone that you may have been waiting for, Gervonta Tank Davis.
Oh boy.
Will lose in a different weight class. Now, the reason he's not in the bottom is that, unlike Williams Zepeda, he is capable of beating the other guys at 130.
He still defeats undefeated fighters.
40 pounds, though, it is a different situation. I have changed my opinion on Tank Davis since rewatching that Lamont Roach fight.
Yeah, but to be honest, guys, I don't know if Gervonta does come out of retirement after his whole controversy outside of the ring in November and his caught apprehended in February last month, then I don't think it would really matter because he might almost come out of prison similar for how it took Ike Ibuchi a quarter of a century to come back to win a fight last year and then lose a fight, and now his career is a waste of time because he's a friggin' old dude. Yeah, I think Gervonta might go through that again, or he might be jailed forever, and who cares? Because, and guys, I trusted Gervonta Davis, but yeah, he got out of this fight easily. Guys, I think there's going to be a lot of comments online on this video commenting Gervonta Davis. They're just going to take so much crap over him. And again, guys, this video was uploaded around April. So this video was uploaded in April of last year ago.
Time I thought maybe it's just a bad performance, but when he loses the ability to push someone back, and they're also not over aggressive like Lamont Roach, he finds it very difficult to find a path to victory, which is why he may be screwed against naturally stronger guys at 140. Someone like Sandor Martin, Richardson, Hitchens are going to be very difficult.
He should have been a 3-weight class champion. He was this close from doing it.
Out if he fights him, and for all those reasons, he's down there, which is going to take us further down to Christian Mbili. Mbili is one of my favourite fighters to watch, but he's also not that good.
Yeah.
He can be too aggressive sometimes.
He's also a paper champion.
May put him out. Lester Martinez, I think, knocks out Mbili. If Morel was still at 168,
yeah, that fight ended in a draw.
Stage, which is why he's down there. Which is going to...
Yeah, of course, guys, just so that you guys know, Christian Mbili and Lester Martinez did fought for the mostly the WBC interim belt, which ended in a draw. And they also have another guy named, well, mostly a guy that's also a WBA champion since January the 1st. And it's bad. His name is Armand Resendez. And Christian Mbili, he's the WBC champion. And those are the only two super middleweight champions right now because since Terrence Crawford vacated all the belts for retirement. And the thing is, both Mbili and Resendez are paper champions. Like, their titles are manufactured. They haven't even won it against the greatest. So, it's going to be a problem for Mbili. Like, he's a champion, but I just don't see him getting that far. Like, he's a heavy puncher, but I just don't see nothing good about him.
Let's take us further up to Bakram Murtazalia.
Guys, we only have a few minutes left until the 1 hour mark. Oh, forget about Murtazalia.
The Jack Culcay fight had a lot of warning signs, but that might
be
to do with how good Jack Culcay's chin is. Anyone who's there to be hit and doesn't have a great chin, Murtazalia could knock out quite easily. Even Virgil Ortiz would be in a lot of danger versus Murtazalia. But what puts him
maybe
is that I seriously doubt his ability to have success in a higher weight division. Very similar to David Benavidez, I think he's a bit of a weight bully. I think Carlos Adames is too much for him. I think Janovic is too much for him. I'd even pick Erislandy Lara to beat Murtazalia, which is why he's down there. And
guys, even though Murtazalia, I don't know what to say about him. Like guys, even though Bakram Murtazalia already had his moments since his last fight, when he lost against Josh Kelly last January the 31st. And, oh yeah, and also Nick Ball, just to let you guys know, Nick Ball did have a fight against Brandon Figueroa last month ago on February the 7th during the final round when Ball just gave up getting knocked down. So great on that. So both of their records are done for. So good pick on him for the heck of it. But just so you guys know, we only have 5 minutes left until this episode's over. I didn't really expected it to this video to be that much. I wish I wasn't talking too much like Scoochan and how her channel and other VTubers. Don't get me wrong, I love Scoochan, and it is hard to watch a 10-minute video and it's her talking for 30 minutes, so I didn't want to be like that, but pretty much it's been 20 minutes. I've only watched under 10 minutes of this video. Still, we only have 6 minutes left of this, but hey, 27 fighters, that's a lot. But still, yeah, some of the fighters that EV Boxing has put on the list has been really accurate.
Yeah. That's going to take us further up to Rafael Espinosa. Espinosa is one of my top favourite fighters.
He is.
This may be a bit of a stretch, but I don't think I've ever seen anyone utilise their reach advantage better than Espinosa.
He's really good.
Fighters who are tall for their division in the past.
Definitely.
Guys like Paul Williams, Sebastian Fundora.
How tall is he?
But I don't think offensively anyone uses their reach the same way Espinosa does. Not defensively, because his defence is still lacking.
Yeah, Espinosa.
But if you give Espinosa the defence of Tyson Fury, I don't think he loses to anyone. But obviously he doesn't, so he's going to go in the middle. I think Inoue will beat him, but that's Inoue. At 130, he still has a massive reach advantage, so he may beat everyone.
6'1".
He is a bit of a wild card because of his defense. He may lose to any puncher he faces. But he's got
Inoue is 8 inches shorter than Rafael.
Which is going to take us further down to Arnold Barboza Jr.
Yeah.
He's similar on this list to a lot of guys in 40. I think he's going to beat Teofimo Lopez in May.
If the fight did take place in Times Square, he might have defeated Lopez.
Devin Haney beats him. It is a styles thing, really, which is going to take us up again to Junto Nakatani. Now, 122 did not have Naoya Inoue. He could clear out 118.
No, he
22, but
barely.
Anyway, so I think he's going to lose. Junto is a really good
He almost lost last December.
I don't like his durability. So while he may be better skill-wise to a lot of people, I would not be surprised if he fought someone with serious power that he's expected to beat but ends up losing to. Like, I can imagine a world where he fights Luis Neri. He's winning the fight, maybe gets a knockdown, but for one moment he drops his hands and gets knocked out by a massive right hand. Like Julian Jackson versus Terry Norris. I can see that being a situation that happens, which is why he's only in the middle. Which is
guys, here's another thing. Now, if you guys haven't seen the pay-per-view of the Night of the Samurais on December the 27th, like, I look back at that as nothing much than just bad luck for Nakatani that day. Like, yes, he did good in the mid round of the first rounds of the fight with Sebastian, and then Sebastian was dominating him. And a couple of judges barely gave him 7 rounds to 5, and one gave him a whopping whole of 10 rounds to 2. So, and even though Nakatani's win against Sebastian Hernandez did point that out, and again, guys, Naoya Inoue and Junto Nakatani are the 2 top fighters in the super bantamweight, and if Inoue does defeat him on May the 2nd, maybe. But the problem is, guys, I just don't know. Like, good luck if Nakatani even recovers or something from this fight, but I doubt it. Like, who knows?
Let's take us further down to Galal Yafai.
Forget about Galal Yafai. He lost.
It's the perfect style for him, and Sonny was about to retire as well. With Yafai, I can see him not losing at 112, but at 115, I'm convinced he loses to a few guys. Jesse Rodriguez, obviously, but no one beats him. Fernando Martinez, I think, is too big and too strong. He may even lose to Francisco Rodriguez Jr. in his next fight. That's a very tough opponent, and that's why he's down there. Sticking to the same tier, we have Yanibek Elimhanali. This video is recorded the day before Yanibek is set to fight Anuel Ngamesenge. I think it's going to be a very tough fight.
It was an easy fight. He won easily.
Compared to a lot of guys at 160, he's very skilled. I think at range, he beats a guy like Erislandy Lara.
He should have fought him in December.
To beat Carlos Adames, but that's a very tough fight. I think his issue will be against a stronger guy.
His issue is steroids.
Distance in mid-range, but on the inside we do see holes. So even though Christian Mbili is below him on the list, that's a very, very tough fight for Yanibek that I think actually loses. Which one's?
Yeah. By the way, like, we're almost at the hour mark right now. Still, Yanibek is ranked number 15. So, guys, the information, just to let you guys know, is that he's suspended by the Association of Boxing Commission indefinitely. He's suspended from the Kazakhstan Federation of Boxing Pro until May the 31st this year. And ever since he was supposed to fight against Arizlando Lara, he decided to go overboard and ruin his career. So, it stinks. Now we're 1 hour into this podcast. I didn't really expect to make this long. But yeah. But I did say in maybe an hour, just in case, if I talk too much. But yeah. But guys, my next episode in 2 weeks on the 20th is going to be barely a 40-minute episode, which is just a 2-year anniversary of my podcast. Crazy. By the way, how many fighters? 5, 10, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 20. So 21 fighters, and we only have 6 more to go. So yeah, I might as well end this video until it's over. Again, yeah. And by the way, guys, Arnold Barboza would have defeated Teofimo Lopez if they were in an environment that it didn't involve celebrities, politics, and just a bunch of waste of time. Like, there were no fans that day watching. Like, Times Square had a full wall and a TV screen on the other side where fans could watch a fight. And the fans that were there watching ringside were just a bunch of celebrities, artists, musicians. The guy making the song Castle on the Hill, but he broke his leg when he was 6 years old. Hulk Hogan was there during his final months in life. One guy dressed up like Fondle Me Elmo, and the other one dressed up like Deadpool, and a bunch of these. It was just a waste of time. The whole show had problems. It was just boredom from fights. Even the Japanese fighter that did that 6-round fight was more entertaining than anything else. The Lopez and Barboza fight, bad. Devin Haney, that was bad. And Ryan Garcia just couldn't recover from being freaked out by the knockout against Rolly Romero. So the whole show was just dead because of that whole environment of Times Square. So yeah, Barboza would have won, but I guess that just goes to show you. So I'm not saying that, yeah, like, even though he did say like he will lose in a different weight class, and even though I would say EV boxing is wrong, but he might have been right that he would have defeated Teofimo Lopez. But yet again, it just goes to show you, if you don't know about the environment, then who knows anything about boxing, politics. Yeah.
Again, is why he's down there. Moving on to a fighter who deserves more attention, Oscar Collazo. Collazo is by far the best fighter at minimum weight. Minimum weight is a very hard division to be dominant in, and he seems to be on that path.
I hope he becomes undisputed.
I can see Ricardo Lopez-esque title reign, and it may be a while before he loses. Moving on further down again to Richardson Hitchens. Very similar situation to Arnold Barboza. There's a lot of guys he beats, there's a lot of guys he loses to. I think he also beats Teofimo Lopez, but loses to Sandor Martin, maybe loses to Subriel Matias. Could also beat Alberto Puello. I do think he'd also do well at 147. He's got a very good jab, one of the best jabs in boxing, but he's going to go down there, which is going to take us down even further to Brian Norman Jr. Brian Norman Jr. is a funny case because I see him quite similar to Teofimo Lopez. Against the right opponent, he looks elite. Someone who comes to him lets him counterpunch. We saw that in his title fight versus Giovanni Santillan. Same thing versus Eric Cuevas in his last fight. But before that, he was getting dropped by Janelson Bocachica, who was on the back foot. Had a hard time versus Quinton Rendell, who was also on the back foot.
He did have a problem against Jin Sasaki in June.
He beats Imantas Stanionis, but loses to someone like Jerron Boots Ennis. Pat McCormack, once he comes up. Barrios is a tough fight, and that's why he's down there. Moving on.
Wow. And he didn't even say Devin Haney. Did he even say Devin Haney's name? That Devin Haney... He didn't even say that Devin Haney might beat him. Because Devin Haney did fought him in November, and Haney managed to win that fight to beat Brian Norman's record. So, good for him. But again, guys, I felt bad that Jin Sasaki could not have the brain to do better than Devin Haney did against him 5 months later, because Jin Sasaki would have been the first Japanese boxer in the welterweight to become a welterweight champion in Japan. Of course, Brian Norman threw that away in his home country of Japan, so good job for that. Only to go to Saudi Arabia to lose against Devin Haney, so yeah, bad. All right, we only have a couple more fighters left. Let's just end this. We only have a couple
We
more.
have Hamza Shiraz. Shiraz is a weird one because he has improved over time. In my opinion, he's got the most powerful jab in boxing, but outside of his straight punches, he's very limited. If he fights someone who's better than him at range, like Janibek or Erislandy Lara, he will basically be rendered useless, especially at 168 where he doesn't have as much of a reach advantage, which puts him at the bottom, which is going to take us all the way to the top with Jesse Bam Rodriguez. Bam Rodriguez reminds me of the effects that Vasily Lomachenko had back in the day, back when he was Lomachenko making undefeated champion.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to expect him and Noya in a way to fight.
Is as unbeatable as it gets. There used to be a bit of a theory surrounding Bam that he's only good against people who are easy to hit, which would explain why he looks so good versus Rungvisai and Quadras, but not as good versus Israel Gonzalez. However, he has fought two very good movers recently, Sonny Edwards and Juan Francisco Estrada, and he knocks them both out without much issue. So now there's not really any style that works against Rodriguez. Pedro Guevara,
he's pretty good.
Top 5, very solid opponent.
He's pretty good. He really is.
Took a punch in that fight and got the knockout in round 3. For someone who's 25 years old, his resume is crazy. Quadras, Rungvisai, Sonny Edwards, Estrada, Guevara. Since he's 25, he could even get better, which is why he's up there. And that's going to take us to our final pick, Devin Haney.
Oh boy.
There's a lot of guys at 140.
He might say Brian Norman's name.
Antoine Russell and Sandor Martin being the other two. I know some of you are thinking, hang about, Haney's not undefeated, but the loss was overturned. He's got a 0 on his record.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
He might beat Ryan in a rematch. I don't know. See how Ryan looks versus Rolly Romero.
Not good.
Jr. I think he beats Stanley.
Okay, so he did say he'll beat Norman Jr.
But I don't think he beats John Ennis.
Yeah, so he did say Norman's name.
Like and subscribe. Let me know who you disagree with the most in this video so I can get more engagement on the channel and get more views. I think I'm going to get a lot of Terence Crawford fans disagreeing without actually listening to what I said about him, because I said he would be at the top if he stayed at 154, but he's going to move up 2 weight divisions. Anyway, that's it. Goodbye.
That only depends if he was going to stay in boxing after the Canelo fight. I don't think EV Boxing expected him to even retire, other than some of us thought he was going to go down the weight class or something. So, opportunities, who knows? Who knows? But again, guys, I think we're going to get more Gervonta Tank Davis than everything else, because just reading these comments right now, that most of these comments are being hateful for most we hear. Like, it's great that some people are thanking for him to giving in a way the credit, so good for that. And yeah, Agit Kabayel, 26-0, number 3 in the heavyweight, and he's not on this list. Yeah, Kabayel, I think he is overlooked, and everyone thinks about it. And wow, there is people that do not. Yeah, people are already saying Tank already lost the fight, but again, he still has that 30-1 draw, so that's bad enough. Yeah, I don't think people are going to give credit. A lot of these comments guys, a lot of these people are making hateful comments to Gervonta Davis even before his controversy in November a few months ago. So he's getting hated already even before his controversy outside of the ring and him being arrested a month ago. So is that the reason why Gervonta Davis has lost his mind and his entire his attitude, because his attitude is turning into a dangerous weapon right now, because his positive vibes are being negative because of people online saying this bad stuff about him? Who knows? Yeah, there is some recent interesting comments here, but mostly these are the old comments that just came out, so who knows? Is there any other prospects? Overrated prospects here? Yeah, I doubt it. So anyway, guys, I do say to myself that some fighters that are already lost their records this year and last year ago, yeah, there is some decency here. You know what, guys, I might even just say good job for it here, but before we end this podcast, which we're almost at the 1 hour and 11 minute mark, I'll just go for it for the fun of it. I think my final thoughts about this entire video is that, yes, Terence Crawford, he might be on the cusp of retirement, and I don't think Nevis expected it. I don't think Nevis expected him to defeat Canelo Alvarez because of his body proportion, but and I thought he wasn't going to win, but yeah, he overlooked me wrong. But all in all, it is what it is. It is what it is. Yeah. But still, guys, with all this going on here, we still have other fighters like Raymond Muratalla. That's ranked number 13. He's undefeated. And again, we do have some other fighters like Jamal Charlo just again came back last year in May, and I just hope whoever his next fight is coming, so he's still undefeated and he's in a super middleweight and looking for a title. So who knows? Who knows? And we still have guys like Alexander Zayas, another Puerto Rican fighter, undefeated in the super welterweight, and another Cuban fighter. So there is some interesting fighters on this list. And we even have a newcomer, like I said before, like he did say Abdullah Mason in the beginning part, and even a guy named Adam Azim from the UK. So there's going to be some fresh meat in boxing, and we're going to wait and see when that time comes. But we're coming to the 1 hour, 11 minute, and 11-second mark of the video. So thank you, viewers, for watching this episode. And with that being said, see you in 2 weeks for the next episode.